Look, you voted for these people. Let them do their job. It's their job. Let them do their job.
We're trying to get something done here. Thank you.
So specifically, bylaw 131 requires the first reading and the second reading. The only provision that would allow you to act earlier than that would be, quote, "The board may, under emergency circumstances, suspend the operation of a bylaw, policy, or regulation and adopt, revise, or abolish a bylaw, policy, or regulation without prior notice. The emergency adoption, revision, or abolishment of a bylaw, policy, or regulation shall terminate at the next meeting of the board or at such earlier date as may be specified by the board unless further acted upon by the board in accordance with this bylaw." So that would be the avenue to act earlier than that, but I can't say that it doesn't put the district at additional risk if you proceeding that way.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to vote on whether we do an emergency policy. I'd like to take a vote from the board. So can I have a motion to vote on whether we would like to do an emergency policy or,
Can I ask Kyle to define what an emergency would be?
It is not defined in the policy or in the bylaw, sorry. So it would be up to board interpretation as to whether an emergency exists or not. Again, subject to if someone were to challenge it, it'd be ultimately up to a judge to decide whether an emergency actually exists.
well, since these were created from an emergency, I think that the categorization of it is this is all an emergency. We wouldn't normally test kids and pull them out. So the process that we have by pulling them out and taking them, that's kind of under an emergency situation. So that's why I would consider it a categorization of emergency, because the whole thing was, I don't know. What do you think, Kyle?
I think the plain language would apply. Just pull up the dictionary definition, so give me 1 second. So a sudden, urgent, usually unexpected occurrence or occasion requiring immediate action. So the question would be whether this requires immediate action, something has changed such that we did not foresee it, such that we need to act. Today, rather than being able to wait the however number of weeks you have until the next meeting for the first reading.
Well, another thought is we have to have, can we do a first reading at the meeting we have to have for voting on the board replacement?
If you're having a special meeting, I believe you'd be able to.
So then we could also then do a second meeting at the 28th. So it would be another month, but we could get it done by the end of April.
I would say yes.
Okay. Okay, so I think I would prefer, if we're going to do something that's against the, well, not against, but not under the recommendation of our own health department, even though many states are recommending it, that we follow the proper procedure. And we'll do the first reading at the next meeting that we call for the voting of the new board member. And then we'll do the second reading on the last meeting that we have this month so that we can have it. And then that also allows Michelle to be here, which I think would be fair for her because we are we're not following the recommendation of our own Department of Health. So why don't we, so can I have a motion to, I don't know what I'm going to say.
We don't have to make a motion.
We're not doing anything, okay, so we're not actually going to vote, great, sorry. All right, so that's the way we'll move forward here. Okay, so what I'd like is a motion to approve, to support the policy committee to create the policy for a first reading on the 14th, or the next meeting, and then to follow up on a second reading. So do I have a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve.
Okay, so if I could just have a call from the board, Ms. Keene, from the board members, if they support the policy committee creating this policy change for a first and second reading this month.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that means probably, Jim, we need to meet
Yes, so
before,
we'll need to meet next week.
we'll need to meet next week.
Okay, which we need to meet anyway.
Yeah, that's fine, so we'll pick it.
Okay. Okay, so that concludes the unfinished COVID exclusion protocols. Ms. Keene, do you have any correspondence for the board? So Mr. Hughes, Dr. Hughes, I'm so sorry, Peter. It says, Dear Peter, congratulations. You have satisfied all requirements for a Master Certified Board Member certification through NJSBA Board Member Academy. Those requirements include earning a minimum of 20 credits through attendance at Academy sessions, the NJSBA annual workshop, and a variety of county programs. The Certified Board Member Award recognizes professional development in areas critical to the effective school board governance. We commend you for your commitment to your school district and for dedicating substantial time and effort to improve your skills and knowledge. Since the inception of the Board Member Academy Certification Awards, NJSBA has recognized the honorees at County School Boards Association meetings. Needless to say, the current public health emergency has temporarily changed our world. Until we have an indication that in-person gatherings are safe again, your achievement will be recognized at a virtual county association meeting. It is my honor to congratulate you on your achievement and to thank you for your dedication and commitment to the students of your community. Be well and safe. Lawrence S. Feinside. Congratulations. And then Ms. DiGiuseppe has a statement.
So with what's been happening on Facebook and some different articles that are out there, I know why a lot of you are here, and I just want to make a statement to clarify some misconceptions and misinformation that has been put out by different articles, different groups in New Jersey, families, whatever. So we have had the SOAR program in Kinnelon since 2020. And it is a program that we look at individuals that have faced adversity and overcome that adversity through resilience and different ways that we teach kids to face adversity. We have had Holocaust survivors. We have had people that struggle with mental health issues. We've had disabled people. We've had a gentleman that was incarcerated for 30 years on death row that was exonerated. And all of these people are doing good work now, in addition to having the resilience to survive really bad effects in their lives. And they're not just resilient, they're giving back to their community. And it's a lesson that we want kids to see. So this program is not about the new standards, it's not about sex ed, it's not about a lifestyle. It's about somebody who faced a very adverse situation and came through it as a mentally healthy, productive member of the community that gives back. Not everyone's going to agree with the lifestyle, but I just need to clear up that what went out in those articles was not necessarily true. Did Mr. Mongan and me make a mistake, and myself or me make a mistake? Yes, it was my assumption that Mr. Mongan was going to, excuse me. It was my assumption that Mr. Mongan was going to put a letter out to the parents ahead of the lesson to let parents know what the SOAR program is about and give them an option to opt out. Mr. Mongan, understands that didn't happen. It didn't happen because we sent a letter out when SOAR first started that preceding every SOAR assembly, the kids are given an overview of what the speaker is going to be speaking about and given a chance to write down questions so that questions can be vetted so that they're middle school kids, right? So they can ask questions and the administration and the SOAR advisors can go through and kind of reword or help the kids clarify their questions. Sometimes administrators, when they know structures in their head and they are so used to having a structure, forget that not all parents remember when they got that first letter telling us about SOAR and explaining that. I put a letter out immediately explaining what the program was to try to clarify. It did not go out in a reasonable time. Other than that, nothing else in that article was accurate. So we are trying to provide students in this district a mirror to themselves and windows into other people's happenstance in an effort to first get to tolerance, then to acceptance, and then to empathy. Because that's what we want for all kids. We don't want the fighting that goes on to continue to go on. We want people to grow and become empathetic, which PS is one of the highest critical thinking skills out there. So just wanted to say that before you all start coming.
Okay, I also just want to... I do realize that there was a bunch of issues and that people were upset. And I understand that. I understand that there was maybe some things that happened that didn't go exactly the way they should have. But I want to be clear. First of all, the board does not, as a process, approve every presentation. We don't approve all the authors that come into the schools. That's an administrative function. I want to be clear that I completely feel, and I feel very confident, that our district administrators and our teachers are doing what they think is the best for these kids, and they have their best interests at heart. So it's not from any nefarious attempt to do something wrong. Now, everything happens for a reason and a purpose. This is an opportunity, this presented an opportunity to me as the board president that maybe there are some things that we can work on and improve, because we can always improve as a board and as an administration and as a district. And so I see this as an opportunity for me to meet with the administrator, with Ms. DiGiuseppe, with Mr. Petroselli, and the three of us sit down, and I'd like to go through some lessons learned on this particular event. Don't know what those are, don't know what they look like, but we're going to get together next week. We have to talk about policy anyway, so we're going to talk about this and see if we can garner some lessons learned. And then we will brief that back at our next meeting, back to you on our lessons learned, back to the board members, because they owe that too, and back to the community. So that's my commitment. I see this as an opportunity, and I see this as an opportunity for us all to come together to support our students, all students of every walk, to be the best version of themselves through acceptance. Now, we don't have to agree. That's what makes life great. And that's what makes the United States amazing, because we are so diverse as a country. And even in this community, we have very diverse views, opinions, religions, beliefs, and backgrounds. We don't have to agree, but we should agree that when we're going to try to understand each other, we do that with compassion. We're all volunteers up here. I've spent the last 3 days working on board stuff the entire day. I want the kids back to normal. That's my priority. And our board's priority is to provide the best education in the safest environment we possibly can for all kids. Now, walking in someone else's shoes and seeing their other perspective is the empathy that Diane's talking about. It is how you really grow and understand. I understand. I was a parent, I'm a parent, PRN parent. And the way I found out wasn't great. Okay, I'll be honest. But my daughter went. It was our opportunity for us to talk about it. At Church Voice, as a parent, we had the ability to opt out. And there are lessons to be learned, and we will take advantage of those lessons learned. But I ask you when you come up and you make your comments to come from a place of compassion. We're all people trying to do the best that we can. Sometimes we make mistakes, and sometimes we learn, and we learn from those mistakes and we move on. You have 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to come up for each person. I'll keep it to about an hour. I don't think there's that many people, so, you know, I really don't want to limit. If everybody wants to come up, they have something to say, please say. Okay, 3 minutes per person. And we are now open for public comment, non-agenda items.
How you guys doing? My name is Kevin Worktuck. I live at. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to find my notes. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. My name is Kevin Worktuck. I moved to Kinnelon at the end of last year. I'm a father of 2. We covered a lot on tonight's agenda. I think how do I explain this? I have a degree in health sciences, exercise physiology, and anatomy and physiology. I watched the video. Now, personal preference dictates, obviously, you can keep your kid home or not from something like that. Not exposing your child to that might be detrimental to their mental health, but